Okay, so what we're going to be doing today is actually finding area of composite figures. Composite figures are just figures that have more than one shape combined together. So basically, you find the area of the all the shapes. It could be two, it could be three, it could be four, and then actually add them up. There's some of them that you have two shapes and one is within the other one. So when you have that, basically you're going to subtract them. Now in this lesson, I don't have an example of that, but I'm sure you could figure it out. So if it's asking just for the shaded area, you find the whole area, then you find the middle area, and then you go ahead and solve that. So I'll give you an example at the end. You will not have room for that on your notes page, but you are welcome to draw it in and put it on the notes page too. So let's start by putting down to find the area of a polygon. So to find the area of the polygon, you're going to separate the figures into simple, familiar, non-overlapping shapes. So basically, all you're doing is just cutting the shape into different figures. So you're going to separate. Okay, I'm going to change. Okay, sorry about that. I'm going to separate the figure into, oops, that doesn't look right, into simple, familiar figures. So then you find the area of each. So you find the area of each shape and then add them all. Okay, so to read this part again, sometimes I know you don't understand my handwriting, but to find the area of a polygon, separate the figure into simple familiar figures, find the area of each shape, then add them up. So that's what you're going to do. So we're going to go ahead and go over the formulas for the area of the different shapes. So square, basically all you're doing is area equals base times height. Rectangle, area equals base times height. Parallelogram, area equals base times height. Now triangle is going to be area equals half the base and height. And then for trapezoid, it's going to be area is equal to half base 1 plus base 2 times the height. So basically, those are the formulas that you have. Remember, these three shapes are familiar because they are similar. Remember, the square is a rectangle because it's just all the sides are the same. A rectangle is just a rectangle, and then a parallelogram is a slanted rectangle. So that's why we have them all into the same formula. So remember, also rectangles, you could use length times width, but this year, remember, we're looking for base and height. Okay, so here we have a figure, and if you notice, we are going to find the area of the figure. Now, because it is not one figure, it's actually two, they went ahead and put a dotted line. Sometimes they're going to give you the whole figure, and you're going to have to figure out where to put the dotted line. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and do both rectangles. So what I'm going to do is I want you to draw it in with the dimensions. So this is 6 and 5. So make sure you always put the dimensions. And remember, to find the area of a square, it's area equals base times height. So that means area equals 6 times 5. So the area of this square is going to be 30 square inches. Now we're going to go ahead to the larger figure. So the larger figure, you have 9 inches and 13 inches. So again, you're going to be area equals base times height, same formula. Area equals 9 times 13. And 9 times 13 will be, well, 9 times 3 is 27. 9 times 1 is 9 plus 2 is 11. So it's 117 square inches. So now all you have to do is find the area of the square, which was 30 inches, the small rectangle, sorry, plus the area of the larger rectangle, which is 117, and add them up, which equals to 147 square inches. So this whole thing is going to be 147 square inches. So basically what we did, we separated the figure into two familiar shapes and then found the area of each and then added them up. So make sure you're doing that. Make sure you're writing this down, everything that I write, so you have detailed notes. Okay, on this one, there's a lot of dotted lines, but though some of the dotted lines represents the height of certain figures. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and separate it into a triangle. We have a square, a rectangle, actually it's a square, and then we have a parallelogram. So we're going to go ahead and find the shapes of each. So let's go ahead and start with the triangle. Now the triangle, it doesn't look the same, but remember we are going to identify the base and the height. So the base is 7 yards. And the height, remember it's going to be up and down. So I'm going to go ahead and put the height. And I'm sorry, it's not very good straight line, but you know what I mean. So 4 yards. So now I'm going to go ahead and write the formula. So the formula is equal to A equals half the base and the height. So we have half, the base is 7, the height is 4. So let's go ahead and multiply that. So half, 7 times 4 is going to be 28, and half of 28 is going to be 14. And that's going to be squared yards. Okay, let's look at the next one. The next one, we have a square. That square has 7 yards. So now we're going to go ahead and write the formula. Area equals base times height. Area equals, because it's a square, then you have the same dimension on each side. So that's 7 times 7, and 7 times 7 is 49 squared yards. Now figure 3 is going to be a parallelogram. That's not a very good parallelogram. Let's go ahead and go back to it. Parallelogram. That's better. And the parallelogram has the base is 7 yards. And the height is 3 yards. So again, we're going to use the formula A equals base times height. So A equals 7 times 3, and 7 times 3 is 21 squared yards. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and add them all up. So I'm going to go ahead and add 20, actually it's 14. Let me change colors here. So 14 plus 49 plus 21. And that's going to equal to 10, 9, 10, and 4 is 14. And then 2, 6, 7, 8, 84. So here, my figure is going to be 84 squared yards. So if you understand this, make sure you're doing it. Make sure you're separating the way you should. Like I said, this one's separating it for you, but usually they don't. So let's go ahead and go to the next example. Okay, so this next example has another shape, and it's a weird looking shape. And what we're going to do, we're going to separate it into those 3 parts. So we have a triangle, we have a rectangle, and then we have a trapezoid. So what we're going to do, we're going to start from the top and go to the bottom. So we're going to start with a triangle. So the triangle has a base of 15 and a height of 9. So we're going to start with A equals half base and height. So area equals to half 9 times 15. So half of 9 times 15. So let's do 9 times 5 is 45. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 4 is going to give you 135. So 135, half of that is going to be, so that's 6, 2, and, oops, hold on, 6, 7, and 5/10. So if you divide it 135 divided by 2. Oops. Okay, so that's one shape. So let's go ahead and find the other shape. The other shape is a rectangle. Our dimensions are 15 centimeters and 4 centimeters. So let's go ahead and solve that. So area equals base times height. Area equals 15 times 4. And 15 times 4, that's going to be 60 square centimeters. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and do the trapezoid. Now the trapezoid, remember you have base 1, base 2, and times the height, which is 4. So let's do that. A equals half of base 1 plus base 2 times the height. So base 1 is 15 plus base 2 is 18, and the height is 4. So 15 plus 18, so 8 plus 5 is 13, that's 33 times 4. So A equals 33 times 4. Well, I'm going to take half of 4, so that's 2. So 33 times 2 is going to give you 66 square centimeters. Okay, so if you didn't understand it, remember I could take half of any number, so I took half of 4, which is 2, and then multiplied 33 times 2. So that gives you 66 square centimeters. Now all I have to do is add everything up. So I'm going to go ahead and add 67.5 plus 60 plus 66. So in this case, you have 5. Bring down the decimal. 7 plus 6 is 13. Carry the 1. 6 times 3 is 18 plus 1 is 19. So that means that my area is going to be 193 and 5/10 square centimeters. So if you notice, we actually find simple shapes, find the area of that, and then add them together. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you on the next slide a different one where they're asking for the shaded region. So you're going to have that on your assignment, so make sure you're listening and writing it down. Okay, so now you have these two shapes, and these two shapes, they're usually, this is how you're going to see them, and what they're going to want you to find is the shaded area. So they're going to ask you to find the shaded area. So what you're going to do, you are still going to separate it into two parts. So the first one, you have a rectangle, and then you have a smaller rectangle. So the whole rectangle is 8 by 4, and the smaller rectangle is 2 by 1. So you're going to multiply that. So A equals base and height. A equals 8 times 4, and 8 times 4 is going to be 32, and that's going to be centimeters squared. The smaller one, you have A equals base times height. A equals 2 times 1, and 2 times 1 is 2 centimeters squared. And then in order for you to find out what the area is going to be, then what you're going to do, you're going to go ahead and subtract them. So 32 minus 2 is going to give you 30. So the shaded area is going to be 30 square centimeters. So basically you still find the area of both of them, and then you find the area of the inside one. Now this next one, you're missing a dimension, so this dimension is going to be 4 centimeters. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and again do the same thing. We're gonna find the area of the whole thing and then the area of the triangle. So the area of the whole thing, you have 7 and 5. So this is gonna be A equals 7 times 5. A equals 35. Okay, for this one, you're gonna have to do A equals half the base and height. So the base is 4, the height is 3. So A equals half of, half of 3 times 4. And 3 times 4 is going to give you 12. And half of 12 is 6. So now that you have that, then all you have to do is go ahead and subtract them. So that's going to be 35 minus 6, and that's going to give you 29. So that means this shaded region is going to be 29 square centimeters. And I'm going to move this up. Oops, that should have, oh gosh, it's making a mess. So I'm just going to put it up here because it's not letting me move it. So this is going to be 29 square centimeters. So basically all you did was go ahead and find the area of the whole thing, then the area of the white part, and then you actually subtract them to give you the area of the shaded part. So do you have three actually problems in your assignment today? So make sure that you're understanding that. If you don't, then come back to the video so you could refresh your memory. So make sure that you did this, you put it on your notes. You do need to fold this, fold it as a trifold. Make sure that you have everything written down so it could help you with your assignment. Okay, so here's your assignment. Basically what you're going to do, you're going to go ahead and find the area of all of them. Now if you notice on the bottom part, it's giving you different answers. So if you find the area and you don't find the answers on the bottom, then you will not, you did it incorrect. So you might have to want to do it a different way. So what you're going to do is you're going to find the answers down here. Okay, then wherever you find the answer, then that's what you're going to color the square in. So say for instance, number 1, you have find the area of the square with a side length of 5. So if we do that one, so it's going to be 5 and 5. So that means 5 times 5 is 25. And this is going to be square inches. So because that's 25 square inches, if you notice, it's going to be in blue. So we're going to go ahead and shade this in blue. Now, I'm going to shade it a different color, so a lighter blue probably. So let's go ahead and see what this is going to look like. There. So I'm going to go ahead and, well, actually, I had to fill it in blue. So that's the way it goes, and then you go to the next one. So basically, that's what you're going to be doing throughout this worksheet. If you're done today, go ahead and turn it in. If you're not, make sure that you do it for homework. Now, guys, if you don't finish today, you do need to do it for homework. Also, you do need to color it in. So if you're not coloring it in, then you don't get full credit for it. So good luck on that. Go back to the notes if you need to and turn them in as soon as you can. Make sure you glue your notes in your composition book and ask questions if you have any problems. So good luck on this.